How's it going, everyone? A lot of discussion recently about microtransactions and games with microtransactions, and it looks like one major publisher is pushing back on the idea of microtransactions in single-player games, so we'll talk about that. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. CD Projekt Red CFO doesn't see microtransactions in single-player games. During his interview with Stockwatch, it was said, "We do not see a place for microtransactions in the case of single-player games, but we do not rule that out that we will use this solution in future in the case of multiplayer projects." So this is something that's obviously been a discussion point for a lot of people, and I think there's a lot of layers to the argument because so many games handle microtransactions differently, and I'm not going to go on for an hour because this is a topic I could probably talk about for an hour, but let's try to cover some bases. First of all, microtransactions in games, I'm always going to assess them differently. A single-player $70 game, point blank period, I do not think should have microtransactions. I know a lot of people are looking at Dragon's Dogma 2, and that's been a discussion, and the people defending Dragon's Dogma 2 are going to say that none of that stuff you need to buy in-game, none of that stuff you need to buy because you can get it by playing the game. Yes, I agree with you that if you play Dragon's Dogma 2, you can naturally play the game and get all that content. Still, the precedent is then set for them to monetize this even further, and I feel like that's what people don't understand, that while this is in-game, it can ultimately fundamentally change gameplay design choices and hamper the development of games because developers now have to take into account, okay, in this single-player game, how do we structure the game in a way that it incentivizes people even more so to drop money on the game in-game? And then gameplay design choices are legitimately altered to favor microtransactions to encourage the spending of money for said microtransactions. Has Dragon's Dogma 2 gone to that extent? I wouldn't say so, and Capcom's done microtransaction elements in previous games before, and I don't think Dogma 2 is absolutely egregious. I don't think it's the worst. I still look at a game like Assassin's Creed where I truly believe that the fundamental gameplay design of the newer Assassin's Creed games are done in a way to incentivize microtransactions, to incentivize you spending money. You can call them time savers all you want, but that is the reality of the situation, that I truly believe that the Assassin's Creed games, their development, how they are structured, how design choices are handled, have been changed because microtransactions are a thing. That's where I think we get into murky territory. On top of that, it's a $70 single-player game. If it's a $70 single-player game, like, bro, you're getting my $70 already. Why are you monetizing this game on top of that? It's just a murky territory to get into, and I'm telling you guys, you don't want to normalize these microtransactions in premium $70 games, because once you give a publisher an inch, they're gonna try to take a mile. They're gonna try to see how far you can push it and push it and push it. Ubisoft has done this quite a lot. That's why they put out $130 premium editions for single-player games. Like, that stuff is absolutely wild to me, and I get it. For a multiplayer game that's constantly evolving, it is what it is, and you want to do skins, you want to monetize that game for an extended period, I get it. It's a business, and you want to monetize the game for as long as you can. It's a very lucrative route to go, because when a game takes $150 million to create, you get it out on market, it's $60, and you sell 4 million copies, just to give you an idea. But then on top of that 4 million copies, you can monetize another million of those copies through further sales and further in-game transactions. That's a very, very lucrative proposition, because you're not spending an extra $150 million on top of the initial development cost to implement microtransactions. No, essentially, it's just free money on top of your development costs, so you should take that free money if you can get the proverbial whales to spend money on the game. Not to talk crap about my boy, you guys have heard me mention him quite a lot, but he is the person in my social circle that is very much the biggest whale I know. And I say the term whale like I love you, man, but you are a proverbial whale. And when I see, you know, he's a dude that's very affluent, he's got disposable income, and when I see him drop the amount of money that he does on various games in microtransactions, I'm just like, yo, all these developers need is a few people like this, and they are making money hand over fist, because with a game like Assassin's Creed, you're still gonna sell your 4 or 5 million copies right out the gate. But then, if you got 500,000 to 1 million whale types as well that are sinking even more money into the game, and you're just monetizing them to a ridiculous extent. You're talking about 3 million of those 4 million copies sold, you're getting your $60, $70 from. For the 1 million whales or 500,000 whales out there, you're suddenly getting $120, $140, $150 out of those people, and those 500,000 to 1 million copies sold, they become the value of 1 million to 2 million copies sold because they are spending so much more money on them. I get why they're doing it, and it can be incredibly lucrative. That's why when I look at somebody like Warner Brothers, and you hear about how David Zaslav is talking about, oh, we want to monetize these games further and further. I see a game like Hogwarts Legacy. Guys, you're looking at a game like Hogwarts Legacy, and it's a game that sold 22 million copies, and the only extra monetization element was it did have the early access gimmick baked into it, but it did not have any real in-game microtransactions. If you think they are going to do a Hogwarts Legacy 2, and you don't think higher-ups are thinking, bro, we sold 22 million copies of this game, what would have happened if we could have monetized it even further? Take 22 million, we only need to monetize 3 to 4 million of those people, and 3 to 4 million of those people are spending $150, $200 on in-game microtransactions. Suddenly, our net return on a Hogwarts Legacy becomes exponentially greater than what it was initially. That's what they are thinking. They're not thinking about the potential damage these microtransactions could do, that this style of game development can do, that something like a Suicide Squad has become a complete train wreck and a complete disaster for Warner Brothers, but in Warner Brothers' lens, I guarantee you that still to this day, they are thinking, man, 22 million copies sold for Hogwarts Legacy, we need to figure out a way to monetize it even more. They're not thinking, we need to attain 22 million copies sold for Hogwarts Legacy 2 as well. They're thinking about how they can monetize it even further. And from a business standpoint, I understand why they do think that. Their goal is to make the most amount of money, but understand where each individual publisher comes from, and why I think just a little bit of microtransactions in a single player game like a Dogma 2, it can spiral out of control. I'm not saying Capcom is going to spiral out of control and they're going to get so egregious with their microtransactions, but it's certainly a possibility, and I feel like we've seen that from other publishers, and I still can find enjoyment out of the newer Assassin's Creed games, but at the same time, you look at the in-game store, and I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, mind you, this was from 2017, and I'm playing that game, I'm doing a replay of it, and it was wild to me that within the first 30 minutes of that game, you get a pop-up immediately that, hey, you can check out the store, and you can get in-game items, and you can buy this, you could buy that. And it's just a little bit wild to me, and with the sports games, it's a little bit crazy. Playing the newest WWE game, I accidentally clicked on the My Faction component, which is the in-game microtransaction, and if you click on that My Faction mode, it's the card game. All the sports games are doing it these days. It's the baked-in card game with the sports games, and I accidentally clicked on the My Faction section, and if you just click on that section, they give you no way to back out of it for a little while. They want to make sure, let's get these pack openings in, let's get that dopamine rush in, let's try to give them that dopamine hit so they have more potential in monetizing the game. It's just little interesting things like that that I certainly pick up on now a lot more than I would in the past. But something like that, I was just like, alright, I see what you're doing there, 2K. You may fool a lot of other people. You ain't gonna fool me with this My Faction Ultimate Team nonsense. And you know what? If you want to spend your money on the virtual trading card games for the yearly sports title that you already spent $120 on for the Ultimate Edition, more power to you, but at the same time, for my single-player games, I really want that to be something they stay away from, and it looks like in the case of CDPR, sorry for going on a little bit of a tangent in totality, but that's what this channel is for, CDPR is going to stay away out of the, single-player microtransaction game. Multiplayer games, yo, it is what it is. Like, I've defended Helldivers 2, and its microtransactions. I think its microtransactions are done very, very well. It's a $40 budget title. It's a multiplayer-oriented game. You can get the premium currency in-game by playing the game. You could legit get every war bond by just playing the game. But, because the game is good, people are naturally just going to spend money on it. That's where I think they should go if you do want to monetize the game further and further instead of just getting so blatant with it. And ultimately, I think that just does damage to a game like a Suicide Squad, where I think the structuring of Suicide Squad and what kind of game it was Do you guys honestly believe that Suicide Squad, the way it is, would have happened had Rocksteady not been told, hey, we need to monetize this game, we need to do X, Y, and Z, we need to do it live servicey, so on and so forth? I'm sure Rocksteady had other ideas. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Microtransactions is a topic that we're going to talk about quite a lot on this channel, and if it annoys you, you can leave out. You can leave your comments of, oh, nobody's forcing you to buy them. Yes, I get it. Nobody's forcing me to buy anything, but I do think you know, based on the fact that the whales do exist, I do think that small minority that do have disposable income and they are gonna spend an egregious amount of money, at least to me, what is an egregious amount of money? I'm sure as you're watching this video, I'll be getting a text from my boy calling me poor, because he certainly has watched my videos in the past where I've made reference to him and immediately called me poor. I'm sure that text message is incoming, but you know, you just need a couple people like that and suddenly the return on your investment is already crazy, because those people spending $150, $200 instead of $60, which a lot of you guys are probably going to spend on a game, those sales become so much more valuable to the publisher. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.